the mysteries of history that modern scientists have been able to solve. The millennia of human existence have left scientists with a host of questions and riddles that strike the mind and often remain unsolved. However, there are ancient secrets that turned out to be in the teeth of experts of the 21st century. Number 1. The first computer. The Antikythera mechanism was found on the ship of the Greeks that went down in 8050 BC and remained in the waters for over 2000 years. During this time, the wooden frame of the unique object was decomposed and metal parts were damaged by corrosion. But scientists still managed to understand what this own mechanism was used for. As it turned out, it was a navigational device, unique at that time because such a thing only appeared again after a millennium. Number 2. Nazca. The ancient Nazca civilization from the desert of the same name within Peru is known all over the world because of unusual drawings left on the surface. The drawings of the inhabitants are so large and clear that they can be seen from great heights, and this had led experts to believe that they are of extraterrestrial origin. Not long ago, experts from the University of Cambridge, in a series of works, managed to find evidence that the Nazca civilization died because of drought, which was a consequence of the cutting down of the harango trees. Through their patterns on the ground, the Nazca tried to interact with the gods by moving along the contour of the drawing, so they had to be large. Number 3. The Lost Army. In 524 BC, the army of the Persian ruler Cambyses II went on a campaign against the Ethiopians, but on the way an army of 50,000 soldiers simply disappeared. As a result, this story became a real legend, but modern scientists were able to identify the remains of the disappeared soldiers. As it turns out, the soldiers fell victim to a sandstorm and their bodies were hidden by the sand. Number 4. The Crawling Rocks. In the Valley of Death, located in California, there is an unusual phenomenon, crawling stones, which leave a characteristic trace of movement on the ground without the impact of visible forces. For a long time, the phenomenon was considered almost mystical, but the scientist Ralph Lawrence was able to solve this mystery. He discovered that in winter all ice shell is formed around the above-mentioned rocks, which allows objects to literally slide on the ground under the influence of winds. Number 5. Maria Celeste. This ship was for a long time considered a ghost, because the crew left the ship for strange reasons, which was eventually found without trace of danger near the Azores in 1872. The phenomenon was described by Andrea Selva, who proved the effluence of the raw alcohol barrels placed on the ship. This substance, in large quantities, can cause invisible fire. When the fire wave is followed by the flow of cold air, but the result is no fire, and no soot is even visible. It is assumed that people were leaving the ship in panic, and that death had already caught them in the boats. Number 6. The statues of Easter Island. As it turned out, stone heads on the island are not at all heads, but full statues, the lower part of which is hidden underground. This became known thanks to traveler Thor Heyerdahl, who launched the expedition and important excavation. Some Maya statues have 7-meter bodies, which were difficult to carve, bring to the site and bury for the citizens of the past, so the result of their work is even more impressive. Number 7. Richard III. King Richard III of England died heroically in battle, and his body was originally buried in a monastery. According to legend, after the church fell into the hands of individuals, the ruler's grave was destroyed and his remains were thrown into the river. However, scientists at the University of Leicester did not give up trying to identify the burial. A large-scale project has justified itself, and they found the remains of Richard III, confirming its achievement by DNA expertise.